Hello there and welcome. So I promised you some time ago that I would make an English version of my Danish video about the Danes and a few facts about Denmark. So that's what we're doing here today. So to begin, I'm just going to show you the beautiful Danish flag, which is so important to us Danes. We actually take it out whenever there's a festive occasion, whenever there's something to celebrate, especially birthday parties and all sorts of things like that. And we even put little Danish flags on the Christmas tree around Christmas time. So this is also one of the oldest flags in the world, if not the oldest. And there is a special legend about this flag. The legend says that the Danish flag fell from the sky in 1219. So what can I say about the Danes? Generally, we are very relaxed, informal, easygoing, and we don't take things too seriously. We have, though, this thing about setting a time and being on time. That is super, super important. We do respect each other's time, and if we are going to meet up, we like to set a time and a date, and we do expect people to show up at precisely that time or very close to that time. So on that little point, we are maybe not so easygoing. And also it is not so common to show up unannounced at each other's homes. We still do like to set a time and a date for visits and things like that. And one other thing that you will notice about the Danes is that we do talk an awful lot about the weather. It is one of the most important topics that we usually open up a conversation with when we meet new people. And I think it is because that the weather here is very, it changes a lot. It's very, what's it called? Unpredictable. And it can be surprising when suddenly the weather changes and it suddenly starts to rain out of nowhere. Especially the summers can be very unpredictable. Oftentimes we don't see a whole lot of beach weather. In the summer we have many days of rain, usually in the summer. This summer, though, is quite nice. We have a lot of sunny days this summer, which is very nice. So we've been to the beach already a bunch of times, and we have been out enjoying the good weather this summer. But last year, I think there was like 1 or 2 days where it was actually good enough weather for the beach. But when the weather is good, it's really good. Here, we usually don't have temperatures over 25 degrees Celsius, So it's never too hot here. Maybe for some, but I think it's very pleasant. And actually, I like that there is a little fluctuation between rainy days and sunny days, because you can also get tired of going to the beach every day. So it's nice with a rainy day once in a while, and also then the garden gets watered so it stays fresh and green. So that's nice. And another thing that is so important to us Danes is, of course, hygge. Hygge. And I don't know if you know what that means. It is a word that is a little bit hard to completely directly translate into English, but the closest thing that I can come up with is coziness, which is not precisely a direct translation, but it'll do. So, hygge is playing board games with friends, watching a movie, going to the movies, or going out and have a cup of coffee with friends. Or hygge, you can do it alone too, with your hobbies. It actually covers a lot. And yes, and the Danes, they hygge a lot. And we have 2 days off each week, Saturday and Sunday, where we just hygge all the time. We go on picnics out in nature, for example. We play board games, and we watch movies, and we eat a lot of candy and cakes and sweet stuff. Or Danish. I don't know if you know about Danish. It's a pastry, and we eat it both for in the afternoon for the coffee, or in the morning at breakfast. Yes. And another fun fact about Denmark is that we eat more candy than any other nation, based on the based on how many people that live here. So per person, we eat a lot of candy, and that is something we, of course, do when we hygge. That we eat sweets and candy. So yes, one other thing that many foreigners always say about the Danes is that we are very reserved and hard to get to know. And I guess that is true. We do not speak too much to other people on the bus. It's very quiet in the bus when you take the bus or the train. People are very respectful of each other and don't want to disturb. And also the same thing goes in the supermarket. We don't usually talk to people that we don't know. But I will say that don't be scared to come up and ask for something if you want help with something. When you're visiting Denmark, people are generally friendly and helpful, even though they don't say very much or talk too much about things. They just give you the information, and then you know. And that's it. So, not very conversational as Danes. And that is a generalization, of course. There are exceptions always to the rule. So, if you're Danish and you're sitting there watching this and you feel offended by something that I say, then just know that if it's not you, then it's not you. It's just a generalization. So, yes. And of course, you might also know that the Danes are very happy with their bicycles. They bike a lot, especially in the big cities. And you might also notice that they bike very fast. We have great systems and biking streets, cykelstier. Yeah. So you can pretty much get around everywhere in the cities, especially. And that is one thing that often surprises foreigners when they come to Denmark. That the Danes, they use their bicycles as transportation simply. And I think, considering our very changing weather, I think it's quite cool that we take the bicycle even in the rain and the snow and the wind. And we manage. And I guess it also has to do with the very high prices of cars and gas and things like that. There are many taxes here on vehicles. So especially young people, students, they tend to use their bicycles as transportation. And I, for myself, I never actually have taken a driver's license. When I was 18, that's the age you can take a driver's license here. I couldn't really see the point because both it's expensive to take a driver's license, and I live so close to the city of Aarhus that I could easily take my bike to everything with no problem at all. If you live in Aarhus, you are close to both the city and the sea, the beach, the forest, and everything is within very close reach. So, of course, as you might know, Denmark is a very small country of only, I think it's 6 million people. And the largest city, Copenhagen, is they have about over 1 million people. They have, and here in Aarhus, which is the next largest city of Denmark, we have a bit over 300,000 inhabitants, people, yes. So it's not a very big city here. It's quite small, but still it has a lot to offer. Great restaurants and cafes, nightclubs, bars and stores and museums. Pretty much everything that a big city should have. So, I've always been very happy living here. It has the charm of and it feels safe to live here. So it has the charm of a smaller city, but still has a lot of great things to offer, like a bigger city. But Copenhagen is of course also very wonderful, and there are many more major attractions to go and visit in Copenhagen. So yes. And another thing that we Danes are still probably a little affected by is something called Yende, the law of Yende, which is a kind of an unwritten set of rules that many Danish people still live by. It has become more and more unpopular, though it was probably more significant, or it had more power back in the day, but it kind of, I think it still does have a little bit of effect on us Danes and how we are as people, because we've been raised with Janteloven, especially a little bit older generations. So what it means is, so the rules are, don't think that you are special, don't think that you are better, don't brag about your accomplishments and your life and all the things you have. Be humble and don't show off, pretty much. So it is very unheard of still here in Denmark to talk about how much money you make and how good you are at something, or everything that you have or have accomplished. It's not something that's looked on very it's not very popular here to just talk about that. So so is it good or is it bad? It can be discussed, I think. Being humble and believing that every person is worth the same, I think, are good values. But it can also take over, maybe a little too much. So I believe that if you are really good at something and you have a lot of amazing qualities, then you shouldn't be shy to show it off. And you also shouldn't be shy to celebrate your accomplishments and show off your brand new convertible or your pretty new dress, or and worry about if people think you're too much or you're showing off. Life should be celebrated and beautiful things should be shown off, because it brightens the world and the life. It's getting a little darker. Today is one of those days where there are a few little clouds, fluffy clouds on the sky, but otherwise it's a nice blue sky out there. So the light is changing every now and then. And here's the sun again. So yeah, let's just leave it there. So an example I can give you is, I had a friend once that she went out with a guy who had a open sports car, a cabriolet convertible, and and he took her out driving around Copenhagen in this very flashy car, and all that she could think about, instead of enjoying the ride, was how embarrassing it was. She felt that people were looking at them and judging them, and thinking that they were just showing off. So yeah, that is really Yende at play there. Yeah. I also think that Yende has a little bit of effect maybe on the way that the Danes dress. They don't dress very flashy or fancy. Oftentimes, many do, of course. They have good style and taste generally, but it's not uncommon to go to a party in your jeans and a t-shirt. It's very common to do that. Maybe not in the big cities. They're always a little bit different. Especially people from Copenhagen are a little bit different, or maybe a lot different, than people from Jutland, here where I live, and other little islands. We have many, many islands here, small islands. I can get into that in another video. Yes, but people that live in the countryside are usually a lot more traditional than people that live in the big city of Copenhagen. And also, Copenhagen is kind of a metropole of many different people from different countries too. Yes, I have a sister over there, an older sister, who lives over there, and her husband is an Englishman, and he really does not speak a word of Danish, maybe a few words actually, but he doesn't speak Danish in everyday speaking. So, and that's one thing you will know also, is that you actually don't have to speak Danish to get around and be understood here, because people in Denmark, they speak very, very well English, and some would say American actually. Yes, we have an American accent, and there's a very specific reason for that. So yeah, and so even though he's been living here since 2008, he doesn't speak Danish. So yeah, and that's very common. And everyone in the company that he was working in, they just all spoke English. So the reason why I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm right here, it's strange. Some people think it's strange that the Danish people, they have the UK as their neighboring country, but we speak with an American accent. And why is that? Yes, it is because we watch a lot of American TV. Ever since we are little children, we watch American sitcoms, American movies, and all of that. So I especially liked to watch American sitcoms ever since I was a child in the 80s. The first show was The Cosby Show, and later came Family Ties. I also watched Will and Grace. I loved that. And the Fresh Prince from Bel-Air, I watched that too. And Frasier, yes. Oh yes, and I also liked these little crime series like Matlock and Columbo. They were so good too. So that's why I speak personally. That's why I speak with an American accent, because I grew up listening to American language my whole childhood and youth. So, yes, that's the reason, if you were wondering. So, yeah, and I think American sense of humor is absolutely amazing and wonderful. It's given me so much inspiration to my own sense of humor. Yeah. So, yeah, but the Danish sense of humor is also quite fun and unique. Many people find it a little offensive. We have a kind of a ironic and black sense of humor. I don't know if that's what you call it, but that's what we call it here. So, yeah, we have a good ability to laugh of ourselves. We don't take ourselves all that seriously. So we can make jokes about ourselves all the time, and I like that ability a lot, actually. But sometimes we think that, mistakenly, we think that everybody else, people from other countries, also have that ability to laugh of themselves. And oftentimes they do, but oftentimes not. So sometimes we can really clash, and I have heard this from foreigners that I know and that I'm close with here, some Polish people, and they oftentimes they felt very, very isolated and alone here. They were fugitives from the back in the 80s, the Cold War, yeah. So they had a very hard time with the Danes because they felt like misunderstood and that they were being made fun of, and they felt alone because they didn't really understand the irony in the Danish humor, and so they could sometimes take offense, oftentimes, and felt bullied sometimes. So I guess sometimes we could just learn to be a little bit more sensitive. Yeah. So that is all I can think of right now. I'm sure there are many, many more things to say about us Danes, and you might also discover a lot of things if you visit Denmark that you notice are peculiar or strange about us Danes, and you are very welcome to write in the comment section about what is your view on the Danish people. What are the things that you have noticed are strange or funny or peculiar about us Danes? I would really love to know that. That could be so interesting and fun. So maybe I will make a second edition of this video with your special experiences, both here in Denmark and about the country and about the people. So with all of that, I will wish you a wonderful and relaxed summer day, and I will see you again very soon in the next video. So bye bye.